Are you tired of playing by the rules? Tired of doing what you're supposed to when all you really want to do is burn the damn rule book and start fresh? I get it. I've done it more than once. And let me tell you, freedom tastes better than approval ever could. Welcome to Her Gypsy Rebel, the podcast for those who crave more creativity, more space, more of your own damn life on your own terms. I am Jacqueline Van Bierk, aka Pink Star, a musician, artist, traveler, and professional rule breaker, bringing you real, unfiltered conversations about reinvention, confidence, and making space for what actually matters. So grab a coffee, a tea, something a little stronger, because this is where the rebellion begins. Hello and welcome back to another epic Behind the Music Musicians Editions, that sounds so fancy, episode with a very special guest, friend of mine, Michael Carrasquillo. He is a drummer, musician, touring musician, has been in the industry, has a lot of insights, and is always willing to share. So I'm really excited to have this conversation with him. And with no further ado, let's get straight into it. Well, hello, Michael. It is so great to have you.
Jacqueline, hello. I love you. Thank you
I love you.
for being so awesome. I appreciate it.
Likewise. So, we know each other for some time now, and we actually got to know each other even better. I mean, you've played shows with us, and we got a chance to play, but it never really spent a lot of time together, quality
No.
time. So we recently did a mini tour with Anesh, and it was awesome. I mean, holy shit, all the things you handled, absolutely amazing. You got us this amazing Airbnb, and we got a chance to hang out. We had our tea times. So not
Oh
rock
yeah,
and roll.
yeah.
It's like I love that. But we met a long time ago in New York City before we left for Hollywood. And you've been in the industry for a long time, behind the scenes, as well as being a musician yourself. So share a little bit of your story. How did you get into the industry, and when was the turning point for you to be, okay, I'm working for a label, but I'm a musician myself, so I want to make music. Like, share a little bit about that journey.
Well, I started. I mean, I knew I wanted to play music when I was a kid. I've always air drummed and rocked out when I was a kid, so I knew I wanted to be in the business of music in some shape, form, or fashion as a musician. So, but I think what really got me into the industry and got me into the genre that I'm in. First, I mean, I started as a hardcore metalhead,
Oh,
so when
wow.
I started playing drums as a young teenager, I was in all of these metal bands. So like, just insane drumming and um it was just something that was available to me and I got thrown into it. I didn't know what I was doing, but when you're a young kid or teenager, it's all about the angst and insanity anyway. So that was easy. Um, then I went to this is a really interesting story because this goes kind of full circle to us playing in Baltimore with NS. Um, I remember watching this movie in the movies called Hideaway with Jeff Goldblum.
Hmm.
Uh, and in the scene in the movie where I believe it's him that goes to hell or his son, I think his son committed suicide in the movie, and then he decides I don't know how the movie. I have to watch that movie again. I haven't seen it in God knows how long. But there's a scene where I think it's his son, is going to hell. And I remember sitting in the theater, and then as soon as that comes in, all this effects, and the guy's face is going into hell, and it's all fire and everything like that. And then all you hear da 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 da. I wanna go to hell. Like that fucking so loud. It was so loud, and I was like, "What is this? What is this?" And I knew of Cam FDM at the time, but I didn't know that song. And it was just so blaringly loud. It was so badass. And I was like, who is this? So I stayed till the end of the movie and the credits were rolling and it said go to hell, Cam FDM. I'm like, oh my God, how did I not know that? I mean, I've known about some of the other stuff just in passing, but like I never got into a lot of the stuff. And once I saw that, I was like, I got to find out more about. I got to listen to more of them.
Mm.
So I started transitioning from metal into the industrial genre, and then once I started digging into that rabbit hole about everybody that was in that genre, um, I wanted to be part of the Wax Trax label. I just felt like everything that I listened to on that label was like just phenomenal, and I wanted to be a part of it. I mean, it was more than just I want to enjoy this music. Anything that's on that label, I'm gonna buy. It was more of like I gotta be there. I gotta somehow or another. I'm a musician. This music is speaking to me. I gotta be there.
Mm.
And that's kind of how I got into getting into the business because at the time I was working at Blockbuster Music, and so I started listening to everything on the catalog, and then everything that I saw all the guest performers, I started listening to their shit. So I found Cleopatra records, and I found everybody else things that I've known about, but it just didn't. I was a teenager. It wasn't like a big deal. I was just playing metal, so it just was loud noise. Um, but once I did all that stuff, I figured I had to find a way in. And when at the time, I think TBT had just purchased Wax
Mm.
Trax, I believe was somewhere around there. And or it was sooner than that. So it was somewhere around 92, 93, or whatever, if I
Mm.
remember
Mm.
correctly.
Mm.
And yeah, I had to be involved. So I called um TBT in New York, and I think in the inserts in one of the CDs it said if you want to be an intern or you want to be a marketing rep or whatever, check this box or whatever. I called New York. I was like, I looked in the phone book and I just called TBT and I'm like, I want to work for the label. I want to work for Wax Trax. And they were like, sure, no problem. I was just this kid. So they sent me a box of shit and then off to the races I was. I was like, okay, I don't know what half of this crap is. But as a teenager, you think you get a box of free shit. Oh, this is gonna be great. I never looked at any of that stuff as free stuff. This is great. I'm gonna be cool with my friends. I had a profound responsibility in front of me to like I wanted in, so
Mm.
I knew I had to do something to earn my stripes and get in.
Mm.
I didn't want to be cool with my friends. I wanted to get in the business. I wanted to be in the milieu. So that's basically how I just got sucked into the business because as you know, one opportunity leads into another, and the more that you expose yourself, not in a sexual way or anything, but the more that you do things, the more that you get opportunities, and then it was just snowball, and of course there were times where I was young and naive and pissed off everybody. I got fired from TBT like countless times, um, but I was always rehired because this kid is just he's crazy and he's willing to do anything and but he doesn't understand corporate politics or he doesn't understand how to function in a business. He's just this kid who just goes and does shit and we're cool with it, but then he also does things that are just clearly like childly behavior. I mean, I was never a child, but you know uh things in hindsight that I go, maybe that was not so professional, but it was in the service of selling records. So that's how it all got into there. It just keeps going.
I think it's so smart that you were so aware of that in the beginning of your career because a lot of musicians are great artists, but if you have zero education about business, you're
Hmm.
screwed. That's because there's
Yeah.
so much that you need to know. You just need to know it because otherwise you just you got to be taken advantage of. And also you breaking the rules a little bit. I mean, that's just most adults in this industry are kids, okay? So they never grow up. So I think, you did probably good. I think that's so smart that you did that. That was great. And also, getting a look behind the scenes, because then you understand more how the industry works, and we both know how corrupt the industry is, and that it's really about mainly about business. And once in a while you might find an A&R person who's like, oh my god, I fucking love that band or that artist, and they're 100% behind you, and then they get fired and you're screwed because no one else on that label gives a damn, you know. So you got fired, you got rehired, you got fired, rehired. What was the first band where you were like, all right, this is like, because you like, and I think that's smart too. You have a lot of bands you play with, you know, you're hired gun, for the most part, and you also do your own project, but you also, I mean, that's a sign of a good musician to be hired and be flown out to shows. What was the first band where you kind of got your skills, and or have you learned from other producers that you work with or bandmates that maybe had more experience?
Huh. That's a good question. It would probably come from the weirdest places. It wouldn't be in the genre.
I like that.
I know from a industry standpoint, I started working at Wax Tracks or TBT Wax Tracks, and then, they were not always busy. So
Huh.
I always I started to decide, oh, let me go work for, if I got into that label, let me go try to get into another label. So there was a rep that worked for Warner. At the time, it was WEA. It was Warner Elektra and Atlantic, I believe, is
Mm,
the label at the time. Um, and he got me, and like, not really an internship, but it was like a, you can take some of my accounts and handle some of the WEA stuff. So I worked there and realized how similar it was to do, both labels. I mean, both labels were essentially operating in the same fashion.
mm,
Um, and then you learn, like, a lot of this business is almost the same. The only difference is the size of the building, the amount of people in it. You know what I mean? And
mm,
the amount of people devoted to certain parts and divisions of the label. Otherwise, it's the same shit.
mm.
Um, but as far as that, I mean, I got the industry knowledge from that. And then as far as music, man, that's a really tough question because there's been so much different types of exposure I've had in my career. Um, from, I mean, people are gonna laugh at this, but from Yanni to, like, I mean, what I mean, shit, it was Pantera. It was like, uh, who else was that I was working with? A band called Vallejo from Texas, which were phenomenal. That I worked with, that I thought were really amazing, and you got to see, these 5 or 6 guys that were just really chill dudes, but as soon as they went on stage, they exploded. Very much like Seven Dust. Seven Dust was another band that I worked with intricately, that I got exposed to so much. I got to work with on Ozfest with them. I
Nice.
met Ozzy and Sharon and their kids, and was there for a bunch of those shows and learned how everything works on the back end. I mean, I was a performer too. I knew how to do that stuff, but how the machine in the back runs was always like this mythical thing, Like, you always thought
Mm,
it was so cool to just roll your shit in and then you get on stage and it's done. But it's really, there's a lot of things that go into the operations of that stuff. So um yeah, I mean, it was many, and I did church gigs too.
oh.
So I learned a lot about a lot about sort of uh performing to a specific demographic and audience by doing some church gigs, that because a friend of mine was like, "Oh, you're a musician. We need a singer and a drummer and this and that and the other." And I used to do church gigs. Like, I didn't even go to that church. I was a teenager just being. They were trying to recruit me in the church, but that shit failed. Uh, so but I did learn about there's a time and a place for certain things in the business and as a performer and as a musician, and you learn those things, for me, in the weirdest places. So it wasn't a oh, I'm a metal drummer, so everything I know is metal, and I learned it all in the metal community. That's bullshit, because I learned how to be a better metal drummer by going to see some jazz shows,
Mm,
or going to see some singer-songwriter or stuff like that, you learn the art of songwriting and the art of performing and the art of dynamics and the ebb and flow of the audience and everything else. And then you can take that knowledge and bring it into something as aggressive as metal, and it has the same effect. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a hard question because there's so many places.
Mm.
I think the most important thing is have yourself expose yourself to a lot of different things. Don't stay in one genre. Really hone in on a bunch of different things because there's a lot of value in everything.
That is so true and that's valuable. I like what you said earlier because part of, doing this musician series is like showing people like behind the scenes because when you're on tour it looks so glamorous, right? You're on stage, you're kicking ass and it's fun, but then who
But then
brings
you're running from one side of the stage to the other because the guys in Seven Dust are like, you have to go see Ozzy and tell him this, and that, and the other, or Sharon, and then you run and you smack right into fucking Dave Mustaine, and he looks at you like you're an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that goes on behind the scene, like setting up the stage, especially when you're not like a really famous band that has their own roadies and stuff. So, and I mean, even when we did our mini tour, getting in the club at a specific time, doing sound check, hurry up and wait kind of thing.
Yep.
There's so much reward, but it's also a lot of stuff behind the scenes. What would you say is like for a newer band that wants to embark on maybe touring? What are some of the most important things they should watch out for?
Huh.
Um,
Huh. Huh. Huh.
from
You
your
asking me that question?
from your experience. I have my own advice, but like what you've been touring a lot and you've also been flown out to gigs. How do you fly out all your stuff? What are you bringing? What is being rented? That kind of stuff. Like give us a little bit of like insight on the not
Yeah,
so glamorous parts of
yeah.
being.
Yeah, for a lot of gigs, okay, let's take it like a step at a time here. For a lot of gigs for musicians, I'm going to tell you this. Um, if you are playing a show that's in another state or anything like that, and you're if a drummer like me, then you can't bring your kit, or you have two options. Yes, you can bring your equipment because you're comfortable with it,
Mm,
and it's something you know. But you have, as a musician, you have to learn how to get what you're given and make it work, because
yeah,
there have been so many times where I would love to play my kit because she sounds amazing. As we heard in Baltimore, she was phenomenal. But sometimes I can't take her with me all the time. Sorry,
right.
sweetheart. Um, she has to stay here sometimes. But you will go, okay, if I'm going to do this gig, part of the expense, whether you negotiate that with who you're playing with or whether it's just the cost of doing business,
Mm,
is getting a kit or getting equipment. Um, a lot of musicians that I know stash equipment in different areas. So they could always sort of go, if they're going to Florida, they can, go to have their shit sent from Tennessee to Florida, or they have a friend that can hold some of their equipment there. If they know they're going to play a lot of shows in that area,
mm,
they'll get like a throwaway kit or whatever, and have it stashed down there. But sometimes you have to rent gear. So,
mm,
um, Guitar Center, SAR, any rehearsal
yeah.
place, or even another drummer friend might, be cool enough because you have that relationship, that they'll loan you the kit, and because they are aware of who you are and what you're going to do, and they know you're not going to fuck up their stuff. Oh, wait, can I curse or no? Okay.
Yes, of course.
So so there's that. Um, always for long haul shows, always try to have your client, or not your client, but the person who's hiring you, book you as long in advance as humanly possible. Um, because A, prices, and B, you need to prepare yourself for the additional cost of things that you're going to be bringing with you. So you want to know what you're dealing with.
Mm,
Um, and whoever hires you, another thing is, if they're giving you backing tracks or anything like that, you need to have that information as soon as humanly possible, because I can't
yeah.
tell you how many times I've gotten tracks from people that I'm just like, oh my God, like, they don't know how to do the tracks, like the click and the this. You are not one of those people. You were fantastic. So so I have no problems there. But sometimes you get stuff that
Yeah.
is just not ready. It's so I'm a very committed person in that respect. I will spend countless hours. I know it's probably billable, and I know what I could charge for something like that. But sometimes it's in the service of you hired me, I'm going to be there. I don't look like a fucking Momo on stage when I'm up
Right.
there. So I got to make sure that this plays well and this does well, and I can hear a click and everything is fine, and we can pull this off. So
Mm.
there's a lot of work that one should do before they hire you as a musician, and vice versa. And the longer the runway that you have all this stuff ironed out, the better.
Yeah.
Um, and shit, what else? I mean, what else? I mean, there's so many things I'm sure people want to know about all of this stuff. So honestly, if after the show, if you want to know questions, just put a comment on
Yeah.
the bottom and I'll see if I can answer some of those questions because I'm sure there's musicians who are just like, how do I do this or how do I do that?
Yeah.
I will say this, every musician has the same problems. It doesn't matter what level of this you're at. You're in the same space. I just talked to John Siren. You had him on your show a
Yeah.
while back, and because we did the show with them in Baltimore, and just talking to another drummer and realizing, you know, we're in the same boat, man. We go through the same crap with gigs. We get hired for these what would seem to be, you get on stage and you're super cool and like everything looks great, from that perspective. But really, it's really the same as any small time. The same shit goes on bigger shows that goes on at with guys who are just starting out and are no names or have been trudging it and don't really have a lot of exposure and an audience, but they've been doing it for a long time.
Mm.
It's really the same thing. The only thing that's different is maybe the width and the depth of the stages and the equipment that's there and some of the personalities that are in the room. Sometimes it could be very difficult because you're
Yeah.
dealing with heavy personalities.
Yeah. I also liked, when we played in Philadelphia, we were not aware that there was another band.
Mhm.
And, whenever you are an opening act, and I even hate saying opening act, but yeah, somebody has to start the show and somebody is,
Right.
the headliner or the featured artist of the evening. But it was so cool that the band, you worked it out with them, right? Because the sound guy was like, "Wow, we gotta tell them they can't play," and I felt so bad. I was like, "Oh my
Oh,
God,
he wanted to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and I had to stop him. I'm like, look, dude,
yeah,
this is not that big of a deal.
yeah," and you made it so cool. You're like, you know what? We're just gonna,
What we do, and then
yeah.
we can work around them.
Uh, you're frozen.
Really funny because I'm going to
Uh,
say this because
hold
this is
on,
what happened.
hold on. You were frozen. My internet connection is unstable, of course, when I do my podcast. Repeat what you were saying.
I bet you I was frozen on the weirdest face too. I was like,
I'll edit it out.
um, so what was it that I froze on? About
Ah,
the throwing the baby out with the bathwater or
yeah,
something?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to, I guess get get them off the bill because we were refusing to strike. I mean, it was in our rider. The thing is like our equipment, once it's set up, it's not that we're full of ourselves. It's if we disconnect everything and take everything out, that negates the whole
Yeah,
we're
it's
doing what
pointless.
we're doing.
Yeah,
So I said we will work with them and we will make this happen. There's no need to cancel the show or cancel them or anything
yeah,
like that. And if we have to put them on the very front on the ground, we will make that work. Everything will be fine. And I say that to say this because that night we were on the stage and we had our stuff and we didn't strike. And then when we got to Baltimore, Anesh says to me, he's like, "So man, now we're the ones setting up on the field." I'm like, "Yeah, you see how that works in the business? Like, yeah, that's a very important lesson there that you have to attack these things
yes,
with grace and with humbleness and problem solving and try to, it gets heated, but you have to remember not to get upset and just have a solution and realize that in some situations you're going to be the one on the stage on the top, and then sometimes you're going to be the one that's setting
Yeah.
up on the floor.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's part of the I mean, and Ash has been doing this for forever, and so have I. And like we were playing with Frontline, and everyone was like, "We're set up. We're not moving."
Yeah. Yeah.
We did the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. You have a sound check, and then it's like everything is set up, so you can't be like, oh, like you said, unplug everything. That's the whole point of doing a sound check. It sucks sometimes, but I feel like it was great how you were handling it and how we all handled it. Because me personally, I always try to, make everybody happy
Mhm.
and make, like you said, make it work out, because everything can always work out. And I've played clubs where there was no PA. We show up. It's like,
Yeah.
uh, hello, you hired us. Where's the
Yep.
PA? They're like, we didn't think. And thankfully, we had our monitors where we used our speakers as monitors, so we turned around, used them as our PA at that night. But if we didn't have that, we would have been fucked. Like we would have
Yeah.
been, I don't know.
I don't remember. I don't remember what happened, but I remember we were on a Slick Idiot tour. It was me and Ash, Gunter Schultz, and Mel, and we had a show in New York, and we were playing the bank, and we roll into there, and we get into the venue. It's a homecoming show because we all live in New York at the time, so we're like, okay, it's a little bit of a break. Our guard is down a little bit. We walk in the room. We're expecting everything to just be there because we're in New York. Everybody
Yeah.
should know. We walked in the door. Venue, very nice. The bank, on Houston. I'm sure some old schoolers know about that place. No PA, no PA. We're like, okay, hold on. How you knew we were coming? You knew everything you knew the lineup that was here. Like, why? How is there no PA? Well, somehow or another, I will never forget this, and I remind him of this every time I do the barbecue in City Island. Late night Dave, if you're watching this, you were amazing that night too, and you're always amazing. He has a band called Honor Among Thieves here in New York City, but at the time he was the sound guy for that event. I don't know if he got called. I don't know how he ended up in there, but man, did he walk in the door, and he, again, problem solving attitude, lot of stress, but he handled it like very well. There were moments where he was a little not snappy, but he was very short, but he got it done. We had a fantastic show, and that's
Oh,
just
thank
how
God.
you have to conduct yourself
Yeah.
in this business. It's like problem solving attitude, manage your heat level, and try to make it work.
Mm,
That's huge in this business. And so many people, A, lose their shit, or B, don't fight for themselves. There's
mm.
no middle ground for people,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, I think we've just Otto's daughter, we've gotten lucky for the most part that we never had to deal with any bullshit. I remember the one time we walked into a club and they had these freaking speakers like stacked, like we were playing like Madison Square Garden. I'm like, what the hell is this? This guy to this day texts me once in a while just saying how much he loves our music. I'm like, oh my God, can I just clone you, make you like a million
He's
of
like,
you?
"Hey, Jacqueline, you want me to bring my wall of sound?"
Yeah, it was just so freaking awesome. Oh man, like, so what are some of your funny stories? Like, we've crashed on a lot of floors, and I mean, there's so many stories. Like, Jim and I got to do another episode about that because it's just so funny. But do you have a funny story, like, where you guys, maybe you didn't crash on the floor, maybe you were always in hotels? Like, we've done a lot of last minute, who's gonna take us home, basically, kind of thing. Um,
Ooh, funny stories. I mean,
or crazy, weird, dangerous, almost dying, something
yeah.
something
Nick
crazy.
Nick stopped in the middle of I is it I-10 in Texas, in the middle of nowhere, and shut off the van and was just taking a little bit of break in the middle of
Uh,
scorching Texas heat. I'm like, Nick, what are you doing? He's like, oh man, I'm taking a break. I'm like, we're in the middle of fucking nowhere.
in
Like, what are you
Texas.
doing in
In
Texas?
Texas.
No joke. I was like, look, I'll drive. So I got out, and no shit, as soon as I got out of the passenger side, I looked to the floor, and there was a skull from something just there on the ground. Me being a kid from the Bronx, being in the middle of nowhere with just us and
Holy
a
shit.
van and a dead thing that's on the floor, I was like, get out, get out, get out, get out, let's go.
Holy shit.
So, I mean, there's countless things. I mean, there's so many things in this noggin that have occurred that I mean, some of it's not really all that great because that's part of the business. I don't want to say names, but there was an incident that had occurred in Irving Plaza with another band member, and we got into a little bit of a fisticuffs, as it were. Like, put up your dukes, fucker, and
Oh yeah.
I. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There was something said, and I think shit went a little bit crazy, and next thing you know, I'm being he's being dragged down by a security guard down the stairs. If anybody has ever been in the backstage area of Irving Plaza, there's a staircase that goes all the way to the backstage door to go outside. He's kicking and trying to punch while there's a security guard holding him, and I'm doing the same, going the opposite direction. And because this business, sometimes the pressure, and the personalities and everything, and sometimes having grown up and lived in some places that were a little dodgy and everything like that. I mean, no, nothing against my folks or anything like that, but things were tough sometimes, so
Yeah.
you learn how to stick up for yourself in
Mm.
the communities. And my mom was very a big proponent of taking care of your issues. A good ass whooping or kicking somebody's ass wasn't a bad thing.
Mm.
So you learn those skills, and then sometimes you find yourself in a situation where someone goes overboard or steps out of bounds, and it's not to be fair, I'm glad there was nobody there with phones, because nowadays that shit would be.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's been so many things in my career that nothing that that is bad, but like it's enough that if it gets put online, it looks like out of context. It's like, oh, this is a dick thing he did, or
Mm.
but uh, but there's a lot of really fun things too. I don't know if I have any really amazing stories. I'll probably think of one as we're talking.
When you say that recording, I remember when, I don't know if you ever heard that story about this guy Jeffrey, who was our guitarist for like a minute. He came, I don't even know where he came from. He was from, I don't know, North Carolina or some, probably not, I forget. But he looked like a rock star. He looked the part. I was like, oh my God, we need a guitar player. He sounded amazing. Oh my God, what a wreck. This guy just like he just kept getting worse, like every rehearsal. Then he got us the show at the Downtime. I don't know if you remember that, Neville
Yep.
Downtime, and
Hmm.
we opened for Funkavoked, and
Ah, Funk of Oak.
it was a packed fucking show, like a dream come true, right? In New York City, Jeffrey is just like fucked up. He's cutting himself open. He's playing random noise, and I had him actually thrown out of the band off stage by a bouncer. And this whole thing, everybody just they didn't know what to do, and I'm like, oh my God, why did nobody record this like this? And then he stalked us forever. He told him, pick up your shit, if you want to gear, like this is the day, the time, be there or don't, your shit's gonna be
Right,
on the
right.
street. But that was like one of the craziest stories we've ever had. And yeah, I remember like if we would have had cameras, that would have been really fucking hilarious. But yeah, people like one person can fuck up your whole band, because for a minute they were like, oh, this guy Jeffrey, he was like running around with a bottle of vodka in a club, even like CBGBs. It's just bad, you give they can give you a bad rap
Hmm.
immediately, and we had to actually like straighten that shit up. Be like, yo, this guy was never really in our band, he was like he joined,
Yeah,
he was in
but
it for
that
like a
but
month.
yeah, but that kind of stuff really puts you again, like
Oh
who
yeah.
you're putting in your circle.
Oh yeah.
You put the wrong person in there, and you have to really backtrack. Really, it's really funny that you also mentioned Neville, because I saw him here I have to. I saw him after a long time last night, and here he is. I don't know if you see him.
That's Neville?
That's Neville. Yeah,
Oh my God.
Neville from Limelight, and
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he's
Oh
doing
my
very well.
good.
Yeah, there's he had some try. If anybody wants to know, he's got a long illustrious career as a promoter and everything. But again,
Did he
you
go
know,
to jail for a minute? He was in a lot of
yes,
trouble.
yes, he did. Yes,
Oh,
he
I'm so
did.
glad some people they come back. They make a comeback. That's
Yeah,
great.
he's doing, for
Good.
what he went to jail for is really tragic. But he did his time. He did what he had to do, and I
Okay.
saw him last night, and it's really crazy. I might get canceled for that now because I'm talking to this guy, um, but this is the other thing too, is like you have to give people the opportunity to themselves and do what they have to do and get back on the
Absolutely.
train
Yeah.
or not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're aware that their situation is their situation. You got to give them the chance to correct it and do their mea culpas. And sometimes you see people on the other end of that and they're doing all right. So thankfully Neville is doing all right.
That is
He,
so cool. It's so funny that we brought him up and you have a picture with him. That's
hmm
awesome. I also love, so obviously because you grew up in the Bronx. So I love New Yorkers because I feel like there's just something about New Yorkers. You guys are fucking blunt. You're also like, not that you want to live in a survival state at all times, but you have that survival, like fucking, don't fuck with me. And I've got to know you pretty well and in your neighborhood and everybody loves you and you're helping everybody. You're just like, Mike is like, Mike, fix my car, Mike, fix this, Mike, can you come over? And I'm like, oh my God, this guy is just so there's just such a generosity, I think, in people like you that are just really, or like Jim, there's you might be sometimes very blunt or very direct, which I prefer, by the way, over someone just
hmm
talking bullshit, but you just keep it real, but at the same time you also have these values that I think are amazing, and that's worth, especially in this business, that's worth a lot. What was one of your favorite, like all-time favorite shows where you went like, holy shit, someone pinched me, like that was just, am I here right now?
Oh man. I mean, let me just add, like the show we just did in Baltimore
Amazing.
was one of them. um to see the faces and to see them there, and then all of a sudden it's like a switch that went off and they were
Yeah.
all in, was and they were all in as an organism, one huge organism. And I remember looking at all of their faces as I'm playing these songs, and like they were all in.
Yeah.
Everybody was in, and there have been a few of those. I mean, some of them with Nick. When we were on tours, there was moments like that. I remember one time in San Diego when we were doing a show. It was a small venue, but it was completely packed. I mean, it was well over fire. I think it was like 300 or so people in that room. It was supposed to be 230 or some shit like that. It was insane, and it was extremely hot. And we got on stage and we just, we did our hour and 15 minute with a few encore. And the people were just, I mean, they were just in. I mean, you could just feel like not each person, but all of them collectively as like one
Mm.
organism feeding you. And it's a feeling that I can't really describe, but man, is it amazing when you have that one to many connection to everybody. It's phenomenal. I mean, yeah, I've done, and then I did a show with Panic Lift. I think it was in last year, maybe, or a year before last. I'm not sure. I can't remember now. It was my first time playing with them. I've always liked that band, and I know the guys in the band from many other different things.
Mm.
But to work with them was a very nerve-wracking thing because originally it was I'm subbing in for somebody. Didn't know that I actually was being more or less interviewed and tried out. But man, it was an awareness that if I don't nail this or at least come close to nailing this, that it's going to be really a problem. And sure enough, as soon as I walked out on that stage and that intro was rolling, everybody knows Jarv and Dan, and then here comes the new guy, and I knew I had a job to do and I did the best
Mm.
that I could, and I think I did all right. But to see the phones, like as soon as I walk out, this happens, like that's really, really nerve-wracking. I mean, I gotta say, I don't know if any other musicians that are out there are like that. You learn how to deal with it, but man, in this day and age, it's like, yeah, the phones come out, and then you're like, shit. All right, here we go. You know,
Yeah.
not only are you nervous about doing your what you rehearsed anyway, because once your nerves and that moment kicks in, everything that you felt super confident about kind of goes out the window.
Mm.
Um, and that's really the mark of a real solid musician is that you can say I'm good all day long, but the minute you roll up that ramp and your intro music is playing and you hear the audience like rev up and they see you walk out and everybody's like, "Woo!" And it's just like, oh shit. I don't know if any other musicians feel this way, but there's a part. It's not that I'm afraid or anything, or stage fright or anything, because I don't really have any of that. But there is a point where you as a musician, you really have to realize that is this who I really am, and can I really do this? Because now I'm in a place where I have to do this. Like this is not a rehearsal anymore. This is not
Mm.
rocking out in my studio.
Mm. Mm.
This is I,
Mm.
I am now doing the real thing, and is what my experience in my soul and what my muscle memory is really what it is, and that's it. You're in, and you have to do it. That's the mark of a professional versus an amateur. An amateur, a lot. I mean, there's been things that have gone wrong on shows for me too, but it's also how you handle it. Sometimes you can
Absolutely.
handle some of the catastrophes with, just the best way that you can. But you still remain professional and you don't try to get panicked. Panicking is what kills the whole thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
I have to say, because you mentioning it, I have really never been singing with another band. I always have done my own thing. So I was definitely nervous,
I have a lot to
because,
I have a lot
be,
to say about that because
yeah,
I will say, yep, I was very proud of you. So go finish what you're saying.
no, but I can relate now because I was like, okay, this is a different discipline. It's like one thing you do your own thing, and yeah, and I fuck up with my own music, but it's just like a different. It's my music. I'm confident. I know my guys are. You guys are just doing. If I mess up, you're solid. But then you go out and you're like, oh, I hope I'm not gonna fuck it up because that's not my ship, right? So I'm just here to support and be as strong and confident. And I know it's repetition. Like we just got started, so if I would have had like 4 or 5 more shows, I would have really like actually it was cool in Baltimore because there was like the crowd was there and you felt the energy and you're like, fuck yeah, I got this. But
Yep.
it's definitely a different discipline. So I have a whole nother respect for you and anyone playing with another band and learning all their music and how they play drums because you have your own style and then suddenly playing someone else's music, which with N Ash for me I was like, oh, that's an interesting structure. I would have not done it that way. So and then your intuition is like, no, that's not how we do it. That's not how he does it. So I have to adapt to that. And it's a
Mhm.
great, what you were saying earlier, it's a great learning curve to do someone else's music
Mhm.
and learn how they sing, how they accentuate and that their I can't even talk right now where the emphasis on words and it's just really interesting, very interesting to really
Yeah,
study
I
that.
mean, I've worked with Nick so long that I mean, even still to this day, when I get on a stage with him, it's like pinch me. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the legacy that he has and the professional that he is when he gets on stage, you realize like he makes you raise your game. Like it's just something about his energy
Mm.
raises your game, and then you learn why he's so meticulous about certain things, and things have to be, like when we were discussing in the rehearsal about not letting a note that you're singing or that Stephanie is playing on guitar stay too long.
Right, right.
He's like a conductor. Like
Yeah.
he's trying to explain to you, but he feels, sees, touches, and everything music. And when he says this and you do this, it's there's a reason why that is.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And I've learned working with him that sometimes you have to really take what you think you know as a musician and how confident you are and give yourself to a person and understand that their creativity and their art has minute details in it that
mm-hmm,
you might have completely overlooked.
mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm,
when you do those things, you learn another thing that you might not have known, and you're like
mm-hmm.
your hearing and your senses are much more acute because or keen, I should say, because of that kind of
Mm-hmm.
detail. And
Mm-hmm.
I loved seeing you in the rehearsals doing what you were doing because I can see that in your eyes, like, huh, okay, that's interesting. And
Yeah,
then some of the times that we were running over a few things a bunch of times, and you're like, huh, and you were having to unlearn what Jacqueline from Otto's daughter was doing and
yeah,
had to let yourself go and realize I'm in the service of Esh's stuff
yeah.
and here's how he does it. And when I saw you on when we were playing in Baltimore and I was looking at you, the three shows we were doing, I was always looking at you at both of you. Um, but I was looking at you in Baltimore and there was some moments in there where yes, you're right. Like if we would have kept doing this, you would have fallen into a not the Jacqueline that's Jacqueline from Otto's daughter.
No.
You would have been Jacqueline in this thing and you there was a sass about you and there was something about you that was like it was so rare and I'm like if we do this a few more shows there's going to be she is going to step into this whole new different version of Jacqueline
Right.
that that I think is going to be out there but then she's going to bring that into Otto's daughter.
Yeah, I think it's just like because we are still who we are, right? I
Oh
mean,
yeah, yeah.
even like when I do my solo project and then Artist Daughter, I'm like, how is this even fucking different? But it is different, but it's still
Mhm.
me coming to the place. But yeah, I really like that, and I think that I have mad respect now. Like for like John, who has to like learn all these, and you too, like learn
Yeah.
a whole freaking set of drums. And I know for me with Artist Daughter too, it's like okay, no, this is not how the drums go, or this is not how the
Mhm.
guitar goes. I remember when Jim auditioned, I was like, no, you don't have to play that. That's the vocal part. You know, he,
Right, right, right.
he learned everything. He's like, oh, okay. Then what am I supposed to do? I'm like, just look cool. Don't
Yeah.
do anything. It's just very interesting. As far as what are you working on right now? What is it that you is Michael doing something your own project? Because I know you do so. I mean, I don't know how you do all that stuff. You got a family, you got a house, you got the neighbors who do want you 24/7, and you do the
Yeah.
music. And I have never heard you complain. Like you would do
Oh,
so much.
I complain a lot.
Well, you do,
I
but not
complain a
like,
lot.
but you don't in the sense that we ask for some like, oh Mike, can you pick something up while we were like at the Airbnb, and
Mhm.
you're just always so accommodating. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You just like you did a lot. You do a lot,
yeah.
and that just really that's a trait that's rare. I think why people just can handle
I
so
mean,
much.
it's all in the service of making everybody feel like they're supported because at the end of the day, it was Anesh's job to do what he does, but it's also my job as an assist to him to facilitate between him and everybody else. And it's just much easier to make sure that everybody, excuse me, sorry, is taken care of and everything is done with a problem solving attitude
Yeah,
again, and just realizing like it's much easier to just handle the things that need to be handled ahead of time and that way the small little details are just easy to do. Plus
yeah.
yes, I have a family. I when you have kids and a dog and a house and a wife and a this and a that and you learn how to manage your time. Um, I mean, honestly, like doing what I did for the tour was cakewalk compared to some of the
It
things that other people.
was?
Oh yeah, I mean the things that happen in a family on a day-to-day basis over the course of over a decade. I mean,
Yeah,
like there's doctor's appointments, I mean, like you learn that you just have to get stuff done.
yeah.
And I mean, honestly, like, I mean, you saw me the whole time. My phone is right in front of my face. I'm responding to a million things, but there's nothing like we say this in the Bronx. I grew up with this. It's an old saying called "There's nothing to it but to do it."
I
So
love that. There's nothing
that's
to
just
it but
what
to do it.
yeah, that's just what you do. You just got to keep it moving
Yeah,
and organize. That's it. I mean,
yeah.
and like I said, having a family really taught me you have this amount of time. Try to cram as much as shit that has to get done in that amount of time. Because as soon as the baby wakes up, or as soon as my daughter gets home, or I got to pick her up from the ferry, or I got to do this, or you have to manage your time and your bandwidth.
I think also I remember when I had more of a regular job going on, different things going on, I would get more done. The more time,
Yeah,
free time you have, the more you just waste it. It's a weird concept, but it's true.
yeah,
But I
and
was wondering, I'm like, when do you ever sleep? Like, you like in the morning you're picking up the rental, and then at 4 in the morning you're like, hey, do you want to have a cup of tea? And I'm like, it's 4 in the morning. You got to be up at like 5 or 6. I don't know. It was just mind blowing.
and I'll give you some now that the tour is over and now everybody's back home. I will give you a little inside the inside baseball here. I didn't sleep between Philly and New York, and those were two shows back to back. I
I,
didn't
I
sleep.
I didn't think so. Yeah.
I didn't sleep because our VIP thing on the website wasn't working correctly, and I was frantically trying to figure out how to get that. For whatever reason, it worked fine in the testing. It didn't work when I pushed it live, um, and it was killing me. So, I mean, we got back from Philly. We had our little tea time. I was talking to you guys. I was sending emails out. I was doing everything. Okay, guys, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, get some rest, Mike. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't. I did what I had to do when I figured out how to do a backdoor way, and then I set up Facebook ads or Meta ads to like run the ad and everything like that. It was already sunrise. I had a cup of coffee and I basically started getting shit ready for the New York show,
Yeah.
which was we didn't know what time we were loading in. We didn't know who was going to be there. Um, there was things
Yeah.
we didn't need, things we did need. I had to run to go do this. I had to go run do that. And I think you were starting to get sick at some point, so we were having to go get some. You were asking for
Oh, the Rica loss.
the Ricolas and but all important stuff. You know what I mean?
That
But
was Monday. Yeah, that was Monday. Yeah, that was. Thank God you helped out so much, and I was just resting. Like I think it's so important for people to
Mhm.
remember, like when you don't feel well, just fucking rest, and that's what we
Yeah,
did. Thankfully, that was Monday because we wanted to go back to Manhattan and explore more, but we're like, okay, we're not here to freaking explore. We're here to play a show and do it 100%. And you also brought up a good point again when you're doing these kind of shows. It looks glamorous when you're on stage, but sometimes you show up at a club and you don't know what the hell's going on. They don't know what the hell's going on. No one knows what's going
nobody
on.
knows.
And you just kind of winging it and make it work.
They're like,
That's
who are you?
yeah.
We're in the band that's playing tonight. That's on that little scribble board that's in the front.
Yeah. And also how much goes into it because you were doing like the promotion, it's not just like going on stage playing. It's like you promote, you try to get people in the door, and that's not always easy because I feel there's a disconnect between an online audience, where okay, people hear about you, and of course, if they are near, they would come out. But if the timing is not right, people don't have a chance to come out, or they may not be. It's a Tuesday or Wednesday, and they don't want to drive an hour. Also, Manhattan, as much as I freaking love Manhattan, it's so expensive to get to Manhattan if you're driving in, because there's
Yeah.
like the toll, then there's like parking and all the $100 right there. So
Yep.
I understand that, but at the same time, I feel, and I say that to all my guests, the importance and for me, when I got there, I told you I was a little bit like traumatized from the online world, how, all these horrible things are happening. And I didn't want to go on the subway with you guys. And then I was so glad I did all that with you guys because I felt like, you know what? The real world is beautiful. There's a lot of amazing people out there. We all get along. And you took me out. We promoted the night when I got there. And
Yeah.
I was like kid in fucking Candyland. I'm like, oh my God, like 3 o'clock, there's a fucking Japanese place open. I was like, we can go and hang out and have a bagel at 5 in the morning and a coffee. It just, oh my God, it just definitely, I love that. I mean,
Yeah.
I love the life that I'm living here also, like being out in nature and all nice and quiet, but having that, you know, that
It's
balance.
it's the duality of life.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah,
saw some of the videos that you were doing when you got home, and I'm like, man, it would be great to be there
yeah,
instead of here. I get all
yeah,
the bagels and the croissants all to myself, but
yeah.
you get the expansive, like beautiful place with your dog just looking out into the water, and I was like, this is beautiful, man.
It
Like
is. It really
you
is.
have to have in life some of that like balance. Like
You
you
do.
gotta give yourself a chance to be in the sensory overload, and then take yourself out.
And I
So
think that's why I love touring because touring, let's face it, it's not for everybody, right? Not everybody likes crowds.
no,
Not everybody likes to stay up late at night and deal with all that because again, it's not all glamorous. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of organization, and thankfully, you and I'm more than happy to help next time more. So that's not all on you, but because I've done it with Otto's daughter too, and it's like it gets a little overwhelming at some point, especially if we do like 6 weeks, whatever what we did. And I was like, holy shit, it's just a lot. But at the same time, man, I would do it again. I would do it
yep.
all over again, being in a van, sleeping in a van, sleeping on people's couches, dirty floors sometimes, because these stories that we get to experience and to tell later, and I mean, you're so full of fucking stories anyway. You have so many stories.
Yeah, there's
I love it. Like Mike, so for all the listeners, Mike lives in Staten Island, and everywhere we went, you told me so many stories. I'm like, holy shit, you could just like have a YouTube channel just about, that Madonna shot a video there, and
yeah.
her just so many stories. And I think you're just so knowledgeable and really always just I can tell that you're really taking life like in, there's people that just don't get stimulated. They just go to
Mhm.
their work. They just sit in front of the TV, watch a show, and
Yeah,
so
I'll give you another story. I live in the island of Staten Island. This is mob land, and I, we first moved here from Brooklyn. We got our house, and then I was going to Highland Boulevard, and there was this pizzeria that was over there. So I go to this pizzeria. I'm walking in the door. I look over to my right hand side, and I'm looking at these guys, and they have these suits, and they look super nice. And I'm thinking to myself, something about those guys looks a little weird. I don't know why, but they look like old timer guys, but they're wearing really nice suits. And it was probably about like November or something like that, because we got our house in October at that time. I think it was November when this had occurred. It was Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving, something like that. So I'm walking into the pizzeria. I have pizza. I come out the door, and then I look to my right again, and I see all these black vans. And then it fucking dawns on me. I I'm in the middle of the feds and the mob is having a Christmas party, and the feds are watching them. And then I'm probably on video walking in between, looking at, going, something's weird around here. So yeah, so that happens out here. It's not as out front as you think, but you catch glimpses of
right.
things like that around here. But I mean, New York is a crazy place, but it also has a lot of like love and amazingness about it too. I don't know if there's a course of questions you want to ask for. I don't know if anybody. I wish there was a chat that we can have and I can answer questions,
I
but
know. We
we
could do
should
it
do
on YouTube
we should
sometime.
do that. Yeah, we should do that on YouTube. And I mean, I'm sure people are going to want to know a bunch of inside baseball musician shit, but
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's just, I think, I mean, I so cherish my time in New York, and every time I come to New York, I get a little emotional because I'm like, oh man, I miss kind of living there and being there. And then at the same time I'm like, but I like Michigan too. I don't know. It just, but
It's a
nothing
love
is
hate. It's a
permanent.
love hate relationship.
It
Yeah,
really is.
yeah.
It really is. And I mean, if you have to, once you realize everything changes. So yes, the old New York that we used to like, the Continental, all these awesome, CBGBs, all these clubs that we had the pleasure of playing in, they're gone. However, I still feel the soul and the essence of New York is still there. There's something about it that is just magical, and there's so much history there. I just wish they wouldn't have torn down all these fucking buildings.
Well, I mean,
Um,
but that's how New York is. I mean,
I know.
you have your New York for only a little while,
Yeah, yeah.
and
That's the
then
sad part.
yeah, and then you realize at some point this is not my New York anymore.
No, no.
It's somebody else's New York, and there's a part where you have to come to terms. That's the hardest part, I think, is coming to terms with a New York that was yours for a moment is now no longer yours, and you have to adapt. And I think that's part of being a New Yorker. There's always New York always has its bubbling something about it.
Yeah,
But again, the identity of the time period, especially at the time that you were pounding the pavement and making a name for yourself in this town,
yeah.
um, is a very important and very memorable moment in your life
Oh yeah,
until it's over. And then you're like, this is not my New York anymore. And it's
yeah.
hard because you love it, but at the same time, you're like, where's all the places I want to go back to and see Trigger at Continental and the CBs? I mean, me being the last drummer to walk out of that building, and then they literally locked the doors, and that was it. It was over. Like
How
that
special
was
is that? Tell us about that.
real. Oh man. Basically, it was the night that they were closing for good. Um, they had a big show like about 2 nights earlier. It was, name after name after name was there. It was a closing of CB's, but there was another night that they were still open for another 1 or 2 nights, and that the last night that they were open, I was there, and we walked in the room, and there were just people playing on the stage. And the last hour, I was next to the drums that were there. There was some guy playing drums. And then the last like 30 minutes or so, he hands me the sticks, and I'm like, oh, yeah, sure, whatever. And they were just playing covers of everything and just doing stuff. And I just got up there and just kept playing. I kept playing until they literally grabbed the sticks out of my hand, and I actually grabbed them back, and I walked away very politely and everything. But they pushed everybody out the door, and like, and the sticks are still here. They pushed everybody out the door, and they took the gates down, and that was it. And there's a picture of me on my Facebook of me standing outside, smoking a cigarette when I did. Um, as soon as they closed the gates, I'm just standing
Wow.
out there, and then I recreated that photo when I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They have the awning and a picture of the front of CB's, and I recreated that picture again. Sue, our merch girl, her and I were there to go see Pig. We drove together up there. We went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She's like, "Oh, you got to do that picture again." So I went over there and I redid the picture the same way. And yeah, it was just surreal to realize like I'm the last guy to fucking sling a drumstick in this bitch. So that was it. I mean, and to see that place close,
Wow.
as many times as I've played that stage and the gallery, I
Oh God,
mean,
I
it's
love the
like,
gallery. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, the gallery was a great space. Also, I've seen Jared with ChemLab do his poems there. I've seen so many people play the gallery who was going to play the big room, but then they ended up doing the other room and doing something totally fucking different. It was
We
amazing.
played we played there with Voltaire. Remember Voltaire?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Althea, who was there at the show in Brooklyn, she used to run
Mhm.
the gallery. Yeah, I remember like the first time we played at CBGB's. I think we went there to ask for a show or something. They're like, "Well, we're gonna put you on at an early spot to see if you don't suck or whatever. It was just so hilarious.
Yeah,
It was
yeah, yeah.
hilarious how you get your audition night on like some shitty night, and then you go on early, and if they dig you, then you get a better spot. But
Yeah.
I thought it was so fucking cool and so New York.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I remember you and I had a you and I shared a moment at CB's that night when you were playing there. Like you had a packed room, and we did one of your songs, and I don't know if I just bulldozed my way up there or whatever, but like
I
you
don't
were so
remember. But you were screaming, and I was like, "Holy fuck, I love it! Keep going!"
I
I
was
think
doing my
Sebastian, because Sebastian was like getting you on stage, and it was like one of our songs. It was the Artist Daughter Goes to Hollywood
yeah,
show.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
that one, and then yeah, he probably brought me on because I think he and I were in another band at the time, and for whatever reason, it was like almost getting to the end of the set, and I just kind of was,
That's
yeah, I can
fucking
sing that
awesome.
too. And then, I just did my like metal, raspy, screaming thing on the chorus, and it was such a huge energy. That place was so electric.
It's
Um,
amazing.
and like I said, you have those moments only for so long. Oh,
Yeah.
and then the other place, not Motor City, but the other Mars Bar. Mars Bar was like a fucking complete shithole dive of a bar, but they had such amazing shit that was going on in there too.
Huh.
And they tore it down, and now it's a bank.
Oh
You know what
God.
I mean? Like it's a bank and an apartment. It's just like you're taking away all of the things that sort of history and rock history have left us, and now it's gone.
I was really disappointed with CBGB's because I felt all these artists that have played that Blondie, like the Ramones, like all the.
Typo, Peter with Carnivore,
Why did these artists
every
not, pull the money together and say, fuck this, we're gonna preserve this, whatever. It's too late now. But that was really disappointing to me because if I feel like even in Los Angeles, a lot of clubs, I think the House of Blues they tore down on Sunset. It just, for whatever reason, art is being totally taken away, and at the same time, they want to promote art. It's just like
weird, right?
this
It's
very strange, controversial. Like they want it, but they don't. They take it away, and they all these rules. I remember no stage diving, no dancing. I'm like, no dancing at a show. What the fuck is that all about?
it's really weird because it's like everybody loves graffiti when it's sanctioned by the municipal commerce
Yeah,
department, but when you do that same art installation and you're doing it in the dead of night, and you don't have a permit and the city is not behind it, all of a sudden it's lawlessness, you know
vandalism.
what I mean? Vandalism, and it's
Yeah.
just like art is such a thing where you do it,
Yes.
but it depends on the context of how it gets perceived.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's what's
Yeah,
really wild.
it's wild. It's crazy. But I'm grateful that we had the chance and were there at the time when that shit was happening, the limelight and all the kind of stuff. It just this generation will never experience that,
They'll
That's
never they'll never
the
experience. And this is the funny thing. Now that they're watching the Alien show on Netflix or whatever the hell it is, or Amazon, but they will never experience the Geiger room in Limelight, the very top upstairs.
yes.
Like
Yeah.
that was the coolest shit ever. Like,
Yeah.
and then just the Limelight, seeing a show at the Limelight, which is just basically a church. Like you're on one end of the building and you're seeing all this like crazy debauchery, but like you look behind you and it's like this big stained glass window, everything's painted black. And I'll never forget like meeting Genesis Peorage from Throbbing Gristle and all that other stuff. Like, I mean, probably the most important figure in industrial music history.
Mm,
I met that night at Limelight, and I was completely like, I met a ton of people like Trent Reznor and a bunch of other people who are famous in their own right, but for whatever reason, meeting Genesis that night was just like, holy shit.
mm,
And then we went to the Geiger room because that was a backstage area, and we had to go through all of these like weird
yes.
hallways in the back of this
Yes.
church at Limelight to get to the dressing room. And here's Genesis escorting me up there, and I'm like, this is wild. This place is amazing, and the people who are in it um are amazing because venue had so many
Oh my
great
God.
shows in it. I
Yes.
mean, it was I think some of these people now just don't understand like the amazingness that New York offered by some of these, like Albion Batcave was really a cool place as
That was
well.
so cool. Yes, yes.
I mean, there was so many like really cool venues, and then you had
Con
L'Amour's,
yeah, I've never
you
been to
know.
L'Amour's, or maybe
Yeah, you
once,
had
but
L'Amour's where all the the wrench turners would go see rock shows, and I've played there. It was fucking so cool, man. It
yeah,
was
I've
so
never
cool.
played there. I remember seeing Marilyn Manson in at the Limelight, and
Mhm.
that was the Portrait of an American Family. And I was so shocked that it was fucking so crowded. You know, when you like someone, you're like, nobody knows about this artist. They're so fucking cool, and and then you're like, oh fuck, they all know about him.
Yeah, everybody knows.
It's that like little, as artists we don't like that when people are like, oh, they sold out, whatever, but of course I was happy for him, but it was just hilarious to see. I didn't realize that he was that big already. And then I saw Rob Halford there. I saw
Mhm.
so many shows there too, but I actually touched Rob Halford and I was like in fucking heaven. He like walked off the show like, I touched him. He was playing that with Fight actually. But
Oh man,
yeah,
Fight
as
was
a
a great. I loved that record too. That was I
yes.
mean, that
So
record was
good.
phenomenal.
So good. So freaking good. And
That one
such a good
and
performer.
two, the record he did with it was really controversial because Trent did a large amount of the two record, and then the demos leaked online. I remember downloading the demos, and now I'm kind of like it's a hard decision whether I like the Reznor
Mm.
produced version or the demos.
I'd have to listen back to it.
Yeah, because I'm like they're both really fucking amazing, and Rob is
Right.
such a great songwriter. Like
So good.
nothing he everything he puts out is amazing. So yeah.
His voice. I just recently listened to Painkiller again and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
What the
yeah.
fuck? Like the drums, the guitars, the vocals, like what?
I grew up with that kind of stuff. My
Shit.
cousins were in hardcore bands in New York City, and like their room was like your typical 80s kid room. Like was like posters everywhere and posters of like of Kerry King from Slayer with the big
Yes.
nail thing. Like he's like this, and this King Diamond, and then there's like Rob Halford on the motorcycle like this, like I mean, those things were just when I was a kid were so like
Fucking
they
cool.
burned into my brain, and I was like, I want to do that. That's what I want to do,
Yes. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, because those were rock stars where you're like, oh my God, I want to be like that.
Yeah, yeah.
You
And you
know?
remember? Do you remember when people used to get the big tapestries from the band's logo that were the size of like a king size bed sheet?
Oh.
I mean, you would see like
Yeah.
The King Diamond logo with this like gigantic bed sheet thing. I mean,
God.
shit like that won't ever be made because it would be so expensive to do.
Oh yeah, yeah. Speaking of, like, so how do you feel about bands like because CDs is not they aren't really as actually John was telling me they were selling some tapes, which that's
Yeah,
interesting, but
yeah.
um where do you feel like it's going as far as the merch goes? Because I think bands these days, as we know, it's really hard to make money, especially if you're not on a label. Even if you're on a label, it's hard to make money because they take most of your money.
Hmm.
So that's why everybody is touring, right?
It depends on how you negotiate your deal, but yes,
Yeah, yeah,
labels will take your money. Yeah,
you
I
know.
mean,
I'm just saying, like, especially if you like five people in a band, it gets split by five people, so it's not that much, so that's why people tour. But on the tour, what do you feel is like the future of merch when it comes to bands, in your opinion, in your experience?
um, I think the most important thing to do is, I think we're learning that digital media has a shelf life because technology changes so rapidly. Physical media will be here, but we have to figure out a way to not look at physical media and digital media as two different things. We have got because we have the technology that we have, we've got to figure out a way, and some of us are experimenting, me included, which hopefully I'll be able to do with my own solo stuff. But how to add value to physical product that can extend to the digital world. You're very familiar with NFTs
I was about to say that. Yeah.
and so am I to an extent, but there's so much more that creatively needs to be done. I don't know if there's enough musicians that have thought outside the box enough. I think everybody's still that's vinyl,
Right.
this is
Right.
Spotify.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of fucking interesting things that you can do with to bridge and to create
Yeah.
essentially a physical product working with the digital world, and you just merge the two in some way or another. Or QR codes exist. There's all kinds of things that you can attach to physical and to digital media, and I think there needs to be a little bit of sitting down and thinking about this in a long term, almost sort of
Yeah.
like, what would it look like in 5 years if we
Mm.
did this to this product? I mean, is there still value in doing this? Or nobody is perfect with future proofing anything, but like, can you somehow adapt these physical and the digital mediums and have them extend into newer technologies that will
Mm.
eventually come through over time, um, and make your art have another level to it.
Mm.
Um, my biggest advice for people is think art wise how to do that kind of stuff, but also um, for merch you got to give yourself enough time to go out there and price these things out. And I see so many bands being upset about how expensive it is to do everything, and they're completely 100,000% right. It's expensive. It's
Especially vinyl.
expensive.
Vinyls,
Oh yeah, it's
no.
expensive to do any of this stuff.
Mm.
But if you go out there and give yourself enough time to source uh product that you're going to make with vendors, um you know you can find something that if you waited to the last minute, you're spending $1,400 on a bundle of 50 shirts or whatever, and you're screwed.
Yeah.
But if you give yourself enough runway, you have the chance to talk to multiple vendors, and eventually you'll find a vendor who will do what you need at a price point that is far better, that gives you much more margin.
Mm.
And that margin that you have now gives you the ability to to extend other things.
Mm.
um give yourself enough time. I mean, I got lucky booking your flight because I knew we were going to be doing this months earlier, so I used technology to my advantage. I used AI, I used Google, I used Travelocity and a whole bunch of other services that basically allow you to book something without actually keeping like without basically forcing you that you're committed to it. I could watch the prices change in real time. Things get sent to my phone at 3, 4 in the morning. Like, oh shit, there's the price. I mean, if
Yeah.
I didn't have any of that stuff, um, there were things that were just not gonna work.
Mm.
And
Mm.
the longer time frame that I had to know things, the better opportunity I had to try to save money on this thing or that thing.
Yeah.
And it basically lessened our loss a lot. So
Mm.
we didn't take as much of a hit as I thought we were going to take.
Yeah.
And you have to. The other thing too is a lot of bands are using their own cash for a lot of stuff. It's so important to give yourself an opportunity to have some level of credit, or hack it. Like you can get a what do they call it? What's the name of that service? It's I'll tell you, it's one that I use all the time. The Affirm card,
Mm.
these buy now pay later services. A lot of times you can use these buy now pay later services, but you have to use them very smart because you could screw yourself. But if you know that you're going to be
Right.
able to cover something and you have the cash, hold on to that cash, put it on the Affirm card. You have 30 days to pay your first payment. and you got to keep your cash because sometimes on a tour, an emergency might happen and you might need that cash.
Yeah.
And you know you're going to sell some merch and everything like that. You'll be able to pay it all back. Um, you don't have a business credit card or you don't have a credit card, but there's options for you to be able to extend that a little further. Taking the cash that's in your pocket and using it right then and there is it before you get out on the road, you're already broke. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
That's a great point because touring costs money.
Oh,
Touring costs money.
it's out of control expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, we just did it. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
like
So it's important, to promote your shows, to make sure that, like you said, have some cash. Don't just go out there being broke, expecting like, okay, because then now you're desperate. You're like, somebody buy my fucking merch because we need the money, right, to get to
yeah.
the next spot, and then you're in a really bad spot, and that
People
creates a lot
sniff
of.
desperation. They sniff
They do,
desperation, and it goes against you. So
yeah.
if you give yourself some ways to
Mm-hmm.
hold on to your cash, extend, get the things done you need to get done. Like the t-shirts were ordered and I put it on my credit card. I mean, I have credit cards or whatever, but I knew that we were going to pay it all back and we
Right.
did. I mean, I paid that bill already. So,
That's amazing.
you know, it all got done, but like you have to figure out because there's ways that you can a firm will give you basically a 30-day window with a low interest rate, but it'll give you
That's great
that
though.
runway that you need. You need a little bit of a runway because you
Right.
need to have some cash on you. Because when you hit these streets and you're playing these shows, you don't anticipate gas being more expensive than it was when you thought, or
Right.
we have to stay in a hotel now. And again, you don't
Or you
have
may have to fix a tire. You know what I mean?
or there's a tire or there's something you have to have some kind of an
Something. Yeah.
emergency ready for yourself. And if you have methods to extend some of the things that you have to buy to make money,
Yeah.
I always put those things on credit or some kind of like pay later scenario. So
Smart.
while you're touring and you're selling that merch, you're like, cool, I can now pay the credit card back, you know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That is such
Um,
great advice. That's such great advice because you need to really be prepared to go on the road. And then I've always said that with Otto's daughter, which that was the biggest mistake we've made. Stay on the road as long as
mhm,
you can, to just kind of rotate, keep going back to the places you've been before, because this way people get to, they get to talk about you, and then you're coming
mhm.
back a month later versus 2 years later. Nobody gives a fuck because it's two
and
years.
and the other biggest thing, if you can't do that, then my biggest advice for any band is data is king. Data
Mm-hmm.
is king. You have to talk to people, shake hands, meet them, but fucking take their phone number, take their email address, and and it's not enough to take that stuff. You actually have to use it. So in this world that we're in now, like you could use AI and you can ask AI, how
Yeah.
do I do this? And AI will literally it'll say, here's how you do this. Would you like me to make you a template? And then, I mean, there's no excuse anymore for people to
Very
like,
true.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do this. I
Yeah.
don't know why we're not doing what like you have to take responsibility for yourself as a musician in this new situation and realize people might buy a shirt and that's great that they bought a shirt. Okay, and you have gas money now, but that person who bought a shirt will probably buy something else from you again later. And you have to nurture that relationship. Uh,
Yes.
and you have to put in some work to nurture that relationship. So somebody in your band might need to be delegated to be the person who makes emails to send to their email list. And guess what? That person who bought a shirt from you, when you put another album out, have another t-shirt design, um, they'll buy that one. And
Yeah.
the other advice I say to people is have shit that makes people go ooh ooh ooh.
Yes.
Don't overfill the place a merch table with bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Have a few things that make people go ooh that's cool, ooh that's cool. I mean
Very
that
true.
is huge. I
Yeah,
mean
I feel even with Otto's daughter, we've had at some point we had like a bunch of designs, and I was like, it's too much because when people have too many options,
They
it's
won't buy
really
anything.
they won't buy anything because they can't decide what to buy. They're like, I like this, I like that, I don't know, and now they get a chance to kind of think more. Versus when you're playing a show, people are in the fucking zone. They love you. They're like, what do you got? I
Yeah.
want it, and it's like the hot sale, like right then and there. But yeah, fucking amazing advice just now at the end. That was great.
Take your one more. I'll give you one more game, and then in the comments, if you have questions, maybe we'll do this again, but
Yeah,
and we'll answer some of those questions, or maybe
yeah,
we'll do it live where we have a live Q&A or
yeah.
something.
That would be great.
But another big one, you played your show, you put everything into your show. I mean, what was the thing that I said to all of you? And what did you watch me do? I brought all of my conversations that were in Baltimore and in New York and in Philly, every one of those conversations I had with my friends and people who loved our show. I casually walked them. Oh, let's talk over by the merch. You know, you want to guide people to
Yes.
where you're gonna be monetizing your shit.
Mm,
And I mean, I know this is not a popular thing to say because there are so many purists out there who are like, oh, I'm an artiste, I do art. You know what? But like we all sell shit too. And if you want to keep doing this, you have to move something. So you move your conversations close to your merch table because maybe the people you're talking to and that are your friends may not buy anything because they can't, and that's no judgment there. But you need to be close by people who
yes.
are buying something who actually want to talk to you. And the minute they purchase something and that square iPad says thank you, because I'm within eye shot of seeing it every show that I play.
Mm.
Um, you'll see the thank you thing, and the first thing I do is walk up to that person and go, "Thank you so much for picking that up. I hope you enjoyed the show, and like, thanks for coming." And that's huge, man. That's huge. You gotta show some appreciation and some gratitude. Goes a
Oh
long
my
way.
God, I so agree. I've played with bands where they just don't come out, and I'm like, what's wrong with you guys? Like, the fans want to see you, they want to talk to you, shake your hand. You don't have to spend all night with them,
Yeah, no, there's a
but
fine line between
yeah,
doing that because yeah, you
you
could
know,
overdo it. Yeah,
you could overdo it, but you could just be grateful and just thank them, shake their hand, take a picture. That is like, God, you made that day. You made that freaking
yeah.
week, maybe. Maybe they had the shittiest day and you just like took them out of all that, That's a beautiful thing about live music. It's just awesome. All right, man, I could talk to you forever and we probably have to do something live, but I let you go because I know you got shit to do and, got to take some time. But where can people find you? And what is in store for you? I know we're doing a tour in 2026 in spring, but I know you're gonna have some other stuff going on before that.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, I just got found out I'm doing like three other shows with three other people. One of them is in Chicago, I think, and
that's
then the other
awesome.
one is in yeah. So I'm busy. I'm going to continue to be busy. If
Awesome.
you see me at any of these shows I'm doing, please stop and say hello. And if you have questions about anything, please say anything. But you can find me pretty much on every social media channel, and it's just MJ Carrasquillo. And if you look on the bottom, it should say my name on there, but if you look close enough, you'll find it. I'm super approachable. I love talking shop to people. I love learning about everything, because there's things that I haven't experienced, even though I've been doing this a long time. But like I will always like try to explain to you where you're going wrong and how you can fix something as far as how the industry perceives it, because the industry likes to do things a certain kind of way, and it's a negotiation. It's
Right.
working together. So yeah, always stop me and then find me online, friend me up, and if you want me to come back and do something even more Q&A-ish, I'd be more than happy. It'd be great.
Yeah, we'll do that. And or we might be going live on YouTube and just like, you know,
Yeah, we'll just go live on YouTube again.
pre-announce it and then just say, hey, if you guys have questions about it, blah blah blah. And I know you've played with so many bands, and that we could go more detail about that as well. But thank you so much for your time and for sharing so much of your
I have a
knowledge.
Q&A. I have a Q&A question. Mike, how do I make a peanut butter and jelly? Well,
You will have the answer. Oh my God, I almost forgot. I ask every guest, What is your one pet peeve? Your biggest pet peeve?
Uh,
You're like, how much time you got?
my biggest pet peeve. Um, I lie to myself to get to places on time because I'm late sometimes, but I'm not a big stickler on, punctuality, but it really bugs me when, you could have avoided it and you're significantly late. It bothers me, you know. So I always want to sort of lie to myself and say if I have to be somewhere at 1 o'clock, oh, I got to be there at like 12:30. You know what I mean? Because I'll get there at 1 o'clock, and then it's part of my own problem. You know what I mean? And my other one is really the biggest pet peeve are people who are just spending so much energy on things that they cannot control.
Oh my God. Amen.
You have to just sometimes turn everything off, turn your head, and realize like there are things that you can control, and you should focus on controlling those things and having the best life that you can control, and treat people, even if you disagree with them, with respect and gratitude, and just agree to disagree and walk away. I don't understand the need to destroy and cancel everything and everybody. I don't agree with everything that everybody does. And there's a lot of people in the community I do agree with. And there's some things about it that I kind of don't agree with. But, in this day and age, everybody is just so obsessed with things they can't control.
Yeah.
And you have to just work on your space. That's my biggest pet peeve. Just not focusing on the things that you can control.
That's so valuable. I agree. I agree 100%. It's just, worry about yourself, improve yourself, live your
Yep.
best life, and just don't care about the things that you.
I think that goes to the point of my mother always says, if they jump off the fucking Brooklyn Bridge, are you gonna jump off too? You know what I mean? So again, it's like control what you can control. You know?
Mm-hmm. And do what feels right for you.
Mhm.
Speak your truth, live your truth, and follow your own path. And don't worry about others
Yep.
because everybody's
Yep.
on their own path. And like you
Yep.
said, we can still coexist and co create and do stuff together. And I think that's what's so beautiful. It's beautiful when we don't all agree because how fucking boring would it be? It's like, oh yeah, I agree, I agree. Ah, same. It's like,
Well, I think you have to treat people. I mean, I personally try to treat people, even if I disagree with you on anything. What I try to do is find the pieces of value that are in
mm-hmm,
you, and the things that we find common ground in, that
mm-hmm,
I may not agree with you on a lot of things, but like if I genuinely feel like you're still a good person, we just have some fundamental
right,
disagreement.
yeah,
um it's important. We are all on this rock together, and you can't just ostracize people to another planet. I mean, we have to learn how to agree to disagree, and learn how to like hug people in some way or another that shows appreciation, even if sometimes we don't get along.
yeah.
um because that comet is coming, called Three Eye Atlas, and we're all gonna die. We have to all get together.
Make friends with the elite, elite, elite of the
We
elite.
all got to bum rush
So so we can go
the
down in the underworld,
bunkers.
get our ticket to get X.
What other conspiracy theory thing we could throw in here?
Well, it comes also down to not that we want to get totally into it right now, but it's for another podcast. But it's also everybody has a past and everybody has their own triggers and programs and belief systems from upbringing that that's why they are the way they are, that's
Yep,
why
yep.
they react the way they react or believe
Well,
what
yeah,
they believe.
their life experiences
Yeah.
are their life experiences,
Yeah.
and have brought them to where they are. And like everybody has a different one,
Yeah.
and nobody should be marginalized in any shape, form, or fashion because of what they've been through. And
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't do that, and I don't. I mean, I may not understand what it's like to be in your shoes,
Yeah.
but I have a level of empathy for you. But there's also part of me too that's like, well, but at least you're not there now.
Yeah.
But, hey, right now we're in a really great moment. You and I are talking, and we're there's peace, there's calm, there's possibilities, there's
Yeah.
potential, even in the midst of some chaos. At this moment, there's still something that amazing can happen between you and I and everyone around us. Let's not focus on the shit we know we can't control, or the things that have sucked, that have gotten us, that effectively built our character and who we are now. But
Yeah.
it's trauma, and I get it. I have plenty of some of that myself,
Right. We all do.
but
You
we,
know. Yeah.
but you can't keep bringing it up. You have to put your foot in front of the other and go, the future has a bunch of possibilities, man. What are we
Yeah.
going to do?
You know, it's funny. I kept thinking of clowns, and in a way, I think of everything that's going on as a clown show. But
Yeah.
it's funny that, clowns are supposed to be like funny, but then there's
Hmm.
people who are
They're terrified.
petrified. They're terrified of clowns. Then they see a
Sure.
clown, they just want to run, They're like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. And it's
Yeah.
like, what?
Isn't
It's
it wild?
funny. Yeah, it's wild. It's crazy. So I feel like a perfect example of like, you know, there's a reason why this person is scared of a clown.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to you or me, right? But to someone else, or dolls or stuff like that. So we are really interesting creatures.
So you try not to bring that person too close to too many clowns.
Yes.
Or you could be that asshole who's like, hey, this guy is really afraid of clowns. Let me fucking fill this entire room full of clowns and see what happens.
Oh God.
Just for shits and giggles, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I forgot. I forgot you're scared of clowns.
because there's a huge part of my New Yorkerness that's like George Carlin. Like, like I know what triggers you and what's going to terrify you. Let's just give it a shot. I know I'm going to get canceled already. I know it.
It's all right.
I'll be all right.
Then we'll play the cancel culture show.
Yeah, there'll be a picture of me, a frozen picture of me, like, oh, he's canceled now. I'm like,
Doing better than ever.
he said he's gonna trigger somebody's clown fear by filling a room full of clowns. What an asshole! No, that's not what I meant. I was just trying to be funny.
All right. Well, people can find you, they can talk to you, and to be continued with this at some point. But have an amazing rest of your evening. Thank you so much for spending the evening with me. I did a few hours and sharing so much with our audience. And I'm sure you will get a lot of clown haters.
Yeah. Yeah. Send your complaints to Trump at powerhouse.com, please. Your clown complaints can go there. Since that's the thing to do now.
I will talk to you very soon.
Okay, I will see you.
Take
Thank you
care.
for having me. I appreciate it. And if you guys want anything on the comments, let me know. I would love to come back. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. Take care.
All right, bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I hope you got quite a few things out of this that may help you on your journey if you are a musician, and or if you're curious about how the industry works behind the scenes, behind the stage, and before and after the shows, and all that kind of good stuff. As Michael was saying, definitely hit him up if you have any questions. He's more than happy to talk to you, explain things to you, or help you out in any situation. Not every situation, but you can try. And if you would like to hire him, all this information is in the description below. And if you would like to work with me, I am holding a confidence course that is like a once a week course where we do movement, burlesque, really working on loving your body, gaining back your confidence, finding your spark again, and a whole lot of fun, and the community really support one another. If you're interested in that, check out the link in the description below as well, pinkstarmusic.com. And do not forget, if you liked this, subscribe, share, comment. We love to hear from you. Any questions you might have, any feedback you might have. always welcome. You can also join my Patreon. And with that said, I'm going to let you go. I know your time is valuable. So thank you so much for listening and spending the time with us. And I will see you in the next one. Take care. Make every day a great day and always follow your bliss.
It's no good to be good and don't do anything. You give a piece, they'll take your everything. Pretend it's cool, say what you really mean. You pray for cure, but no one's listening. I cheat, don't pay for anything. I am your greed. My mind is in the gray, as big as it seems. I've come to take your place. It's fun being me. I'll disappoint you, yeah. Don't mind, my mind is in the gray. I've come to take what's mine. It's so good to be cool. It gets you everything. No heart, no soul, ashamed of anything. I'm human too. My mind is in the gray, as big as it seems. I've come to take your place. It's fun being me. I'll disappoint you, yeah. Don't mind, my mind is in the gray. I've come to take what's mine. All my life I've done right, I've played by the rules. Looking back with regret, I guess I'm the fool. So sick and tired of being the last in line. So sick and tired of being